Hi again. This is the 8th part and final part of the AutoCAD 2020 modelling tutorials for House T by Tsukano Architects in Miyazaki in Japan. Okay, the house in reality has a flat roof. Okay, so that is kind of the form in its finished state, but let's pretend we were needing to put on a different shape of roof. Okay, and we're going to give this a bit more drama. Okay, so what I'm going to do is make the walls here the current layer and put a rectangle around them initially, just so I can move this to the side. Okay, and we'll bring it back and drop the roof on in position in a second, rather than deal with all these layers. So I'm just going to move this new rectangle to the side by let's say 20,000 millimeters. Okay, it's a bit easier to see what's going on. Okay, and let's say the new roof hangs over the edge by 400 millimeters. Okay, so if we were looking down on it, we've got a 400 millimeter overhang. Okay, and what I'm going to do is put something quite cool and sort of twisted on this. So let's change to the front coordinate system, and I'm going to draw a line up from this corner by 4 meters. So a line vertically here, I've got ortho on 4,000. Okay, a line from the midpoint here 1,000, and a line from the midpoint on this side 1,000. Now the model that we've been working on isn't a perfect square. Okay, so when we put a shape on each of these sides, they are going to need to be different shapes. Okay, so let's do this one first because it's facing the coordinate system where we're currently in. Okay, so we'll use a polyline from endpoint. Okay, but we want to draw with an arc, and we want to choose a second point. So the second point is going to go through there and then hit this position. Enter to finish. Okay, so at no point do we have contact between the arc and that line. Only at the very start does that happen. It's not brushing that line. Okay, do the same looking this way, so that would be the right coordinate system. Okay, so it's another polyline from this point, an arc, second point to the end of the line here, up to this point, creating an apex in this position. Okay, we don't need these lines anymore, they're done. And in truth, we don't need this either. Okay, oh, we do. Tell a lie, don't do that. We need these two sides at least, so we'll explode that and delete these two sides. Okay, so we've now got 4 edges, and that's what you need as a minimum to create what's called a network surface. Okay, so if we go to the surface commands, it's going to create a NURB surface for us. That's switched on. Okay, these are kind of the highest quality, kind of mathematically kind of derived surfaces, and we want it to be a network surface. Okay, so the command prompt is asking us to pick edges in the first direction. So let's say the first direction is this side. So it would be 1, 2, enter, then edges in the second direction. 1, 2, enter. Okay, so we get a very smooth surface. Okay, it's not faceted in any way. It is kind of mathematically derived, kind of pure geometry. Now these surfaces can be offset, so we can give the roof some thickness. Okay, better to do these commands in 2D wireframe so you can see what's happening. We'll offset, pick the surface, enter. We want to create a solid, and you can see the arrows already showing which direction it's going. If we click both sides, it'll go downwards as well at the same time. Okay, but we'll go for solid. Okay, and then it's waiting on me to put in the thickness of the roof. So let's make it fairly chunky. Let's say 250. Enter. Okay, so all that kind of gridded appearance disappears, and we're left with a very smooth solid. Okay, you can see the thickness is still here. Okay, but that, that gives the impression that the roof's been peeled up at this corner. Okay, but we really need the walls to catch up with the roof. Okay, so I'll go back to the home ribbon and go back to the world coordinate system, and let's extrude this box upwards. Okay, so extrude, pick on the rectangle, and we just need it to be bigger than the roof, as long as it goes right over the roof. Okay, and what we're going to do is subtract this shape from this one. Okay, that'll effectively split the shape in half. Okay, and we can then delete part of the solid. Okay, but before you do that, you need to copy this shape onto itself, because it will get absorbed if we just do the subtraction. If I just demonstrate, if we subtract from here, okay, we've lost the solid. Okay, we've got quite a cool kind of shape, but it's not what we want. We still want the roof. Okay, so undo that. Okay, we'll copy this first. Copy, pick the roof, enter. Base point can be anywhere. Come back to the same point. We've got two roofs there now. We can subtract. Pick the big object first, enter. Pick the roof, enter. Okay, we can see something's happening. Okay, now what we need to do is separate the top part from the bottom part, and that's on the solids editing tools. Okay, usually separate is hiding under shell. Okay, so separate. You click on the object. Nothing much looks like it's happening. Just press enter again. Enter to finish. It should be in two parts now. Bottom part, top part. Top part can be deleted. Okay. Now what we can do is push this back into position. Okay. Before we do that though, we could change the layers on this. So let's just tidy that up for a second. Okay, so we need a 3D roof, and these will be tiles. So let's use that kind of elegant JD green that you find on these Oriental buildings. Okay, it doesn't need to be current. Okay, and then another layer, 3D roof soffit. So that means the underside of the roof. Okay, so we'll keep that on. Okay. This is the walls, so that's okay. That can just stay on the walls layer. Okay, but to change the top surface to the tiles, we'd need to explode the solid. So that's X, enter, pick the solid, enter. Okay, so we've got a top surface now that we can change the layer of. So it's a shame that it's not a solid anymore. Okay. Actually, before we do that, let's let's not explode it, let's not jump the gun just yet. Let's put it back on and cut the light well out of it, or a slightly smaller light well. Okay, so let's define the shape of the light well that we want to subtract first. So if we go from corner here to corner here, and let's offset that in the way by say 200. And then extrude that, so that's going to be our cutter object. Okay, let's move this back into position. Okay, it was 20,000, we moved it. Okay, looks quite funky now. I'm sure the architects are not going to approve of what we're doing here. Okay, now we might need 2 of these to deal with the shape. So let's copy that before we do the work. So copy it onto itself. Okay, subtract from the roof, and then subtract from the soffit as well. Okay, so we should have cut in there. Let's just have a little look. Okay, now you can see there is a gap there that would need filled, and what we could do there is copy the beams up a bit higher. So let's just do that. Okay, so the beams need copied and joined together at the height of the standard roof. Okay, so it's to there. Copy the beam and then union those two together, and that will close the gaps. Okay, so we shouldn't see any airspace now in there, but we've still got our light well. Okay, it is a shame to explode this. Okay, but we can't change the layers materials just now if we don't. Put that onto the soffit layer first, because most of it's going to be soffit. So 3D roof soffit, then explode it, and we'll put just the top layer onto the roof tile. Let's see how crazy that looks. It's got its charm. Probably find that this is just where the water will just run in, so it's going to be keep the bamboo alive in that hole anyway. But that was just a little aside, just to introduce a couple of those surfaces commands, so you're aware of those. And that finalises the AutoCAD portion of this. The next stage will be taking the original building into 3D Studio.